Let's say for the last 9 years, I spent some videos bragging about not just being the best in this community, but also acknowledging that people hate me, but I'm here to stay anyway. And then in my 10th year, I turned around and talked about how I'm underpaid and pushed like a Patreon or merch or something like that, but still keep the energy of being arrogant to farm reactions from haters. Would you feel bad for me in this scenario? Because that's what Teen Titans Go tried to do in their 400th episode. I'm still pretty conflicted with this episode, aptly titled 400. On one hand, the visuals are pretty amazing, with the show really leaning into that vintage feel translated into a modern time, as well as paying homage to stop-motion animation and wacky-looking fights of super old kid shows. I also enjoyed the general feel of the Titans here, but on the other hand, there's scenes within this episode where they're still going to that same well of trying to farm outrage, but it's even more confusing here because they're also farming sympathy at the same time. And to answer the question I had at the start of this video, you should not feel bad for me. If I bragged for years about my success and I farmed outrage from haters and then turned around and appealed for pity about being overworked and underpaid, my negative reputation should supersede any plights for sympathy, because you don't get to have it both ways. I can't be mean to you and then expect your kindness after. So I want to show you both emotions they try to convey here, and let's start with the bragging and the arrogance. The special starts with an award show where they set up other DC characters to win awards and build that the Titans are still not respected as superheroes. However, there's one award for DC's longest running animated show, which the Titans win. It's interesting that they only won this award 400 episodes in, because they've more than passed this mark a long time ago. As you'd expect, the speech they give is very humble.
I knew it! In your faces! Woo! We so deserve this!
I can't believe it! I mean, I can, because, 400 episodes, but still,
Oh, yeah. I just gotta thank us, because we awesome, yo. In your face, awesome.
Oh, I'm so sorry you didn't get any precious golden statues or industry accolades, but we don't care!
I'm not saying I don't like arrogant characters who shouldn't feel as confident as they do, because I enjoy Gumball, I enjoy Eddie, I enjoy Tyler from Turning Red, I enjoy Rigby, and I enjoy Squidward, just to name a few. But this just proves my point even more. Some of these characters have had moments of arrogance and then moments of sympathy, and it actually works. When Rigby went from being the annoying one who didn't have that many real-world experiences to back their confidence to having one of the most beloved arcs within the show, the reason it worked so well is because he put his ego to the side for good intent, and a good woman by his side who saw the actual potential in him if he just applied himself. When Eddie within the finale went from being the sleazeball scammer who didn't care about anything other than conning kids of quarters for jawbreakers to the victim of a childhood of off-screen bullying from his older brother manifested in this twisted game of seeking validation, it worked because once the truth was revealed, Eddie became very transparent and vulnerable about how that makes him feel. We both know Teen Titans Go isn't designed to evoke these kinds of feelings.
We're trying to be humble, not trying to boast.
But seriously? Who else even comes close?
Static Shock. Oh, no. That's rude.
The antagonist of this special is Superman, or Clark as Robin calls him. Ooh. This is his first speaking role within an episode of Teen Titans Go, and Superman feels that the Teen Titans need to give more respect to the more established superheroes and pay their dues. But we know the Titans are immature by design, so he just defaults to trying to erase them from existence by converting them into stop motion. Now, why would he have this plan? Well, because of the other emotion this special wishes to convey: pity.
Superman banished us to the most expensive dimension an animated series can be sent to, a stop-motion special.
Yay! Stop motion special!
It cost $1 bajillion to produce! That's why Superman sent us here! He knows how expensive stop-motion is, and he knows our show doesn't have that kind of budget!
The special revolves around escaping this stop-motion dimension to prevent them from overspending their budget and getting canceled. Now, to some of you who don't watch the show, you might think that this is the first time that they're bringing up the budget, but this is not a one-time thing. They've spoken about being underpaid in several episodes, including Bottle episode, an episode that was blatantly disguised to be as cheap as possible to save on their budget, but also coincidentally, their 200th episode, titled the Self-Indulgent 200th Episode Spectacular, that focused on how overworked the animators were. Them complaining about their budget is a consistent theme.
Every every move we make is expensive, painstaking work by a crazed stop-motion animator. We'll blow our budget in no time!
You heard him, friend Cyborg. Blow the budget!
Now, I do want to make it clear that I'm not saying or implying that because of their success that they shouldn't have budget problems, because I'm well aware that even the most successful or famous media or people within any industry can still be well underpaid. There's plenty of successful animated films that were shown to be a step backwards for the industry, or at least just an example of how to not treat the people who made the successful thing. Of course, I believe that Teen Titans Go, as successful as it is, can still have a ridiculously relatively small budget, and that the animators working on it are overworked. I just don't care. I can't care. I can't even say that Teen Titans Go are the only ones keeping the lights on at Cartoon Network, because there really hasn't been a Cartoon Network for years at this point. But it has been successful in the wake of so many other shows falling by wayside. You know all those other shows that Cartoon Network had? Yeah, they're being canceled, if not canceled already, if not erased from streaming services, if not all legal digital platforms as a whole. In being empathetic, I can understand why it may leave a sour taste in some people's mouths that the one show that has such a polarizing reputation was the one that was left, compared to a Mao Mao or Infinity Train or Elliot from Earth. And while Teen Titans Go had nothing to do with the cancellations of those shows or any other show, I can't ignore the comparison that they got to go on for season after season on said small budget, when other shows who I'd speculate had even smaller budgets didn't even get to go on at all and had less polarizing reputations. Now, outside of the messy emotions the show wants to convey, there are good aspects about this special that I want to highlight. Before getting back to the inconsistency, post-editing Jay here, really quick, I just wanted to pop in and say, if you guys can do me a favor and type F in the chat for this comment here, who nearly had a heart attack for me just praising Teen Titans Go. Yeah, don't show them this part of this video. It definitely don't show them that I did a top 10 best Teen Titans Go episodes at the peak of its hate. But let's get back to the video. I enjoyed the stop motion presented, and I'll always respect the work that goes into it. There's a lot of work that goes into it. I'm curious to know if their mouths are still computer animated and superimposed onto the figure, because they feel a little different both in movement and texture to the rest of the body. Plus, I would imagine it seems like a nightmare to stop motion animate lips. According to a few sources, this was animated by Stupid Buddy Productions, who worked on Robot Chicken as well. And that speaks to the quality here. In their efforts to escape the stop motion dimension, they seek out the stop motion animators and ask how they can save on their budget. Listen, I love this character design a lot. These 3 different colored hands correspond to 3 different characters conveyed through voice.
'Tis us, the Teen Titans, oh great ones!
Yeah, what do you want?
Our budget, it runneth over, your majesties.
Why is he talking to us like we're medieval royalty?
No idea.
To be honest with you, this might be one of my favorite character concepts of all time. Listen, I enjoy Hydra-esque or Cerberus-esque designs a lot, so this kind of character design is peak for me. Now, within the special, ironically, they're nothing special. They're just another meta character who's talking about saving their budget and sending the Titans on a wild goose chase, in this case, for a piece of clay specifically to save money, quote unquote. Now, despite this, I did enjoy select scenes here, such as Starfire being very wholesome with the skeleton, or Raven remembering that she's a demon, thus not having to be afraid of skeletons either.
Wait, why am I afraid of a skeleton? I'm a demon!
And while I don't really care too much for this blatant meta, in fact I've been very meta'd out for a few years to be honest with you, especially this kind of meta that wants to farm out sympathy for its budget, I will say that this episode had one thing that it was building up to that paid off. Throughout the episode, they kept hinting at a giant robot battle to the death and how expensive it would be to animate. It was clear that they were building up to it, and when it happens, I actually quite like it a bit. When Superman realizes that the Titans aren't just gonna give up and willingly be canceled, he takes it upon himself to return with a giant robot to erase them forever. It's tasteful in how it wishes to convey how it seems low budget. I would imagine even what they did here was quite expensive, especially given that it's not something that they do often. And it pays homage to the wacky robot fights of the previous decades. The action was cool, the robot designs are cool, and while it still retained their signature immature feel at the end, at least we got something cool out of the action scenes. speaking of that clay that they got to quote-unquote save money, it's used here as a special sword that they use to defeat Superman at the end, so it kind of works out, although not in the most clever way. I'm pretty sure this is live action, by the way, and I don't mind it. It looks great. It actually breaks the monotony of normally animated episodes, which is what they were aiming for. And also, for those curious, towards the end of this episode, they confirm in the episode that a 9th season is on the way.
Whoa, check this out! Our money-saving measures were so effective, we've been renewed for another season!
With all of this said, as you can tell, there's both moments of being arrogant and farming outrage, as they've normally done for years, but also speaking about their budget and wanting to be underdogs and for people to take pity on their circumstances, and I don't think you can do both. And I do want to make it clear, the budget thing is not a joke. That is the entire plot of this 400th episode special. I hope both in my tone and how I've been speaking about the episode, how I've had good and bad things to say about it, that I'm trying to convey that I'm not outraged. In fact, I haven't been since truthfully maybe the Wally T episode, but just confused on if this emotional tactic still works over a decade later. Teen Titans Go should feel proud that despite its polarizing reception, they are very popular within their target demographic and have been able to entertain people for over a decade. But if we could be honest here, kids don't care about budgets, nor should they. So the only people who would care about the budget are people who are savvy enough to understand how animated shows work, at least on a surface level. And the people who are savvy enough to at least know a little bit about that would also know about the hostile and bitter tactics that Teen Titans Go has used over the years to farm outrage as well. And I just can't see how you can have both emotions at the same time. Again, you can't be mean and then expect people's kindness afterwards. But listen, maybe you see it. Let me know in the comments down below if you've seen this episode. And if you want a fuller timeline of the Teen Titans Go outrage history, you can check out this video I made here.